right. What's up, everyone? We're here with Angie Overkill. How's everything going, Angela? Good to see you again.
Hey, good to see you. Yeah, everything's going okay. Just had a little extension on my fight camp. So it went from 1 week to 3. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. First up, it was all set for last week, and then I think it was COVID protocol. Someone on Ashley's corner person tested positive. Is that right? Can you just confirm the situation there?
Yeah, it was a weird one because usually with the COVID stuff, it either happens like before you fly out or once you get here and you get your first COVID test. But this time it was the third COVID test. So we take 3. We take 1 before, 1 when we get here, and then 1 after weigh-ins. And the one that her corner took after weigh-ins, that was the one that came back positive. So it sucks because like literally you don't know until the day of the fight. So I'm awake and I'm like getting revved up. I'm like, giving myself the good talking to in my head, getting amped to fight. And then I got the call from my manager saying that the fight's off because one of her corners got COVID. So it sucks. And I think it's kind of funny because like I don't know, it could have been a false positive. It could have just been like her cornerman contracted it like a couple weeks before and it just wasn't detectable until fight day. So it just sucks, but it's funny because she was like, oh, I never would have expected this to happen. And like right now it's just like like even right now, I'm just like, I might be fighting this weekend. We'll see. This is 3rd time's a charm. Like COVID has messed up my last 2 fight weeks. So hopefully this time I make it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that as well. You've lost 2 really tight splits to Claudia and Michelle, and then you've had 2 fights that cancelled because of COVID. You had been on a 3-fight win streak before that. Is it all about just getting that momentum going again now?
Yeah, since I got back after my fight with Michelle, I've just been working really hard in the gym and trying to develop some new skills and start working more on my like offensive wrestling and stuff like that. So when I found out that they offered me Ashley, I didn't have her in mind at all when I was training, but I felt like this would be a good test for that. So I don't want to force anything. But I definitely want to just try to make it as dominant as possible and hopefully get a finish. And I'm just anxious to get that chance. Like I was training for it with the Tisha fight, and that fell through the week of the fight again. So I'm hoping that I at least get to see how those new skills pan out in the cage.
Yeah, and you've already beaten Ashley before by unanimous decision in 2017. Are you expecting anything different from her this time? How do you see it all playing out on Saturday night, Sunday morning for us here in Hong Kong?
Well, we've both evolved. She's a lot more fit, I think now. Like before, she was a little bigger. Now she's more lean, and I think she's always been really good at grabbing. Like that's why her nickname's Spider Monkey. So she's really good at like doing that weird jiu-jitsu girl, like throw her legs over her head and like take her back somehow type of stuff. So I'm looking forward to like seeing how I can defend that stuff, like the really jiu-jitsu-y stuff. I've been mixing it up with a lot of grapplers lately who just do straight jiu-jitsu. So I feel like I'm really prepared for all of her offense. But yeah, I think I'm a much better fighter now. Like I think my takedown defense is way better than it used to be. I can get up a lot easier than I used to. I actually know what I'm doing down there. I have like a game plan as opposed to just like move. Okay, hold their head and don't let them punch me. So I have more options on my back, as well as options from my top game that I can use now as well, where before I felt like I was more of a striker who wanted to play around on the ground a little bit, but I wasn't really confident in it. So now my confidence is a lot higher, and I feel like my skills are a lot better.
What does a win do for you? I mean, do you still have these title aspirations? Where do you want to go after this fight?
I just want to keep winning. I really want to finish. I think that's the easiest way to get noticed for a title shot. I think the strawweight division is pretty deep, and you see a lot of girls who aren't ranked kind of breaking through just because they're getting finishes, they're getting subs or TKOs or whatever. So I want to be one of those people. Like I feel like I'm always right on the verge of being in the top 5, but then something dumb happens. So I'm trying to like stop that trend, like keep the momentum going. I've been saying I'm on a 7-fight win streak, and I honestly believe that in my head. My last 7 fights have been like the best of my career. So win or lose. Oh, thank you. So my loveliest. So yeah, I have to believe that, because that's how I go in there with the confidence that I should have if I had won the last 2 fights. So yeah, I'm just focusing on getting those finishes. I feel like every girl who's ranked especially has a good chance of getting a title fight with 2 big wins, 2 emphatic wins. So that's my goal, is just to like keep getting those big wins. It doesn't matter how many it takes. I'm gonna be there ready to either take a last minute fight or to do a fight camp and knock out one of those girls who keep saying they won't fight me. So yeah, that's my goal.
Yeah, and one of those losses on the streak, you said, the 7-fight win streak, it was Xiaonan, another close decision. How do you see her fight going with Carla? Is that a title eliminator?
I don't know. Like I thought she would have more trouble with Gadelia, because I felt like she was really easy to grapple once we were on the ground. I felt like I was working well off of my back with her. So I was like, oh well, Gadelia, she's black belt, she should tap her out, and she did it. And I was like, dude, you suck. But no. But I think Xiaonan is focused a lot on her takedown defense. She looked really good in that fight. She popped up real fast, and with the Carla fight, it's just more of the same. She's going to have to work on popping back up. I think Carla is a lot more aggressive and has better stamina than Gadelia. She'll probably keep reattacking, and she could tire Xiaonan out. And I think Carla is more afraid of shooting on people where she's afraid of their power. And I don't think Xiaonan Yan, she's more of a volume fighter. She doesn't really like boom crack. So yeah, I'm not sure how that would go. It really just depends on how easily Xiaonan is able to pop back up on her feet and score points. And if she can just keep popping up and scoring points, then I think she could outpoint her. But I don't know. I feel like Carla should have this one. We'll see.
Yeah, and I've got to ask you to get the analyst hat on again for Zhang Weili and Rose Namajunas, UFC 261. They just announced that. You got an early prediction. How do you see that one playing out?
Man, well, like her fight with Xiaonan was obviously epic, but the reason that it was so epic was because they both decided to stand in front of each other and hit each other, So that isn't how I see Rose taking this fight. I feel like Rose is going to approach it like her last fight with Andrade. She's going to try to stick and move and not take too much damage. And, Weili can hit. She can crack. The fact that she just knocked out Andrade cold is like a big deal. So, yeah, I'm not sure how that's gonna go. But it's gonna be epic. Like I think that's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be just 2 striking styles, but like slightly different philosophies. And I don't know. I feel like Rose can evade Weili a bit and make it a tough fight for her. I think the most dangerous part about Rose is that she doesn't rely on grappling and she doesn't rely on striking. She can go wherever the fight goes. And I think that's one thing we haven't seen of Weili that much, is that Weili never decides to go for a takedown or go for grappling. She has great counter wrestling, but she doesn't seem to attack with it. So that gives Rose a lot more options. And I don't know, if Rose is the underdog, I think that would be a good fight to put some money on for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, talking about the analyst side, you got to fill in the Dominick Cruz as well on Unlocking Victory. You're really becoming a must-see analyst for me. What's the feedback been like from everyone?
Thanks. I've gotten mostly positive, but one thing I need to do is work on talking with with a deeper voice. I get a lot of complaints on my voice, so I'm like, "Fuck you! You're gonna hear a lot more of it."
Yeah. I've got to ask you as well about the Overkill Cruz video. I'm just trying to bring it up on screen here. Yeah, this was hilarious. I thought. Yeah, what's the feedback been like as well for this?
I love that. Yeah, I mean, I've been training with Dom for years. I've watched him warm up I feel like 1,000,000 times. So it's definitely something like a running joke with everyone that trains at Alliance. Like we all try to see who could do the best Dominick Cruz footwork impersonation. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. When I always get these mybookie.com ads to do, and I'm like, how can I make it a little more interesting? And then I'll do like random impersonations. But since Dom was fighting, I thought it would be perfect to do this. And it turned out people really liked it, especially the uppercut. People were really like amused by it.
And there was a cat or a dog kept coming in, I think.
Yeah. Well, Dojo is pretty much Dom's like right hand man, Dojo the dog. So. Okay. So I just got a dog, so I had to get my dog butchered to impersonate Dojo for a second too.
Yeah, Dom was fighting, and he caused a bit of a stir after beating Casey Kenny. Called out Hans Molenkamp for the charity fight. A lot of people were a bit baffled by it. You seem to defend Dom on Twitter. You said you came out in support of what he said. Like, what was that whole situation like for you?
Well, I don't want to say names because it is one of those things where people will vent with confidence that no one's going to go and blab about it. But he has like pissed off a lot of fighters, Hans Molenkamp has. And it seems like just from what I've heard that he like makes people take videos with them. He makes them like pose, he builds this like false image online and on social media, which seems kind of harmless, but at the same time he'll like do something like make Dom do pads with him during fight week, and it's like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. I don't go to basics class anymore because it's so easy to get injured by someone who's like clumsy and doesn't know how to hold pads. So like something like that just seems insane to me, that he would insert himself into someone's fight camp during a title fight, So like Dom, I'm not saying that Dom's come out and said anything to me, but other people have, and I've seen him like deal with Hans at the gym, and I've always thought like, man, that's kind of weird that that he's doing that right now, like right before like a huge fight. But obviously it did tick him off to the point where he called him out and was like, hey, you want to act like a fighter? Let's why don't you put your money where your mouth is? Let's do it for charity. And I thought that was like the best way to nip that in the bud, because it's like, hey, like, it's one thing to pretend to be a fighter, but you're acting like this is real life. Like, let's just make it real life real quick. It can be for a good cause as well. And I don't know. I feel like it was a good way to deal with a situation where most people didn't really know how to deal with it. Like the people that I've heard, like either they were no longer sponsored or were made to do things that made them uncomfortable. But if you don't, then, it becomes a big deal. And it just seems like a weird thing to have a representative of such a huge company do, you know, like, and obviously Monster is a great brand and they're a great sponsor and they totally fit like MMA to a T. But if you have this one guy handling all the fighters' accounts and saying, oh, this guy didn't like my photo, so they're not getting the sponsorship this year. This guy, you know, didn't sit on the handlebars on the bike with me, so I'm not gonna renew their sponsorship this year. Like that kind of soils the company. It represents the company in a weird kind of I don't know, like like somebody said, I don't know, just like they're just taking advantage of fighters. Yeah. Who, you know, they're fighters. They're tough guys. Like, no one wants to feel belittled. You know, you spend all this time getting tough and learning how to fight, but then when it comes to money, like, you're almost always at a disadvantage as a fighter until you get to a very rare point where you don't have to worry about it anymore. So for a lot of these fighters, they're dependent on sponsors and when you have a guy who makes you do things that you're uncomfortable for, but you rely on the sponsorship, then yeah, that's a bad situation. So I feel like that's what Dom is kind of coming out and saying. And I've heard from a lot of fighters who don't have the position that Dom has, where he's set. He's like, you know, he has his ESPN gig. He's a very good analyst, very good commentator. He's a champion. He just want to fight. Like, he's in a good position. For someone to come out like that, then it shows like, oh, he's not just bitter. He's not just being bitter because he lost a sponsorship. Like, he's speaking out for all the people on the lower end who have to deal with this nonsense and are sick of it, but are too afraid of losing the one thing that's keeping them afloat, you know? Yeah. So yeah, it's a really interesting story. And like, if you go on Instagram, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about, like with all the posts and everything. Some people have come and supported Hans too. So there's always two sides of a story. But I've just heard like a lot of people, he's rubbed the wrong way. So I've always been a little wary of him, but yeah.
Well, thank you, Angela. I got so many more questions, but I know you've got to do a few other interviews, and they're giving me the go-home cue. So, I mean, I'll let you go. Yeah, thank you so much, though, for giving me your time, and good luck for the fight. Hopefully catch up with you again afterwards. Thank you so much.
Thank you.